The hallway of Jefferson High was always loud, filled with chatter, laughter, and the occasional sound of sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. But today, all eyes turned to a single scene, an arrogant smirk plastered across the face of Derek, the school's notorious bully. He had made a career out of humiliating others, picking on kids smaller than him, and feeding off their fear like it was fuel for his ego. But what he didn't realize that morning was that he had chosen the wrong target. Maya, a quiet girl who usually kept to herself, was carrying a stack of books and trying to get to class unnoticed. Derek spotted her, and with the cruel sharpness that everyone had come to expect, he stuck his foot out, sending her crashing to the floor. Her books scattered everywhere, and the sound of laughter from Derek's friends filled the hall. For a moment, Maya just sat there, humiliated, her cheeks burning as her classmates whispered. But beneath her silence was something Derek couldn't see: strength. Maya wasn't the type to cause trouble, but she wasn't weak either. She had spent years training in martial arts, not because she wanted to fight, but because her parents had taught her the value of discipline, self-respect, and never allowing anyone to strip her of her dignity. Derek bent down, his voice dripping with mockery. "What's the matter, clumsy? Can't even walk straight? Maybe school's too hard for you?" His friends cackled, egging him on. Maya took a deep breath, gathering her books, but Derek wasn't finished. He shoved one of the books away with his foot and grinned. "Go on, pick it up. Beg for it." Something snapped inside Maya. She stood up slowly, her eyes locking onto Derek's. The hallway grew quieter, the laughter fading as people realized this wasn't going to be another easy victory for the bully. Derek puffed out his chest, smirking. "What are you gonna do about it?" he taunted. Maya's voice was steady, calm, almost chilling. "You should stop now." But Derek didn't listen. He moved closer, shoving her shoulder, trying to push her back into the role of victim. The crowd gasped, and in that moment, Maya acted. With the precision of someone who knew exactly what she was doing, she pivoted, raised her leg, and delivered a swift, clean kick to Derek's face. The sound echoed through the hallway. Derek stumbled backward, crashing into the lockers, clutching his face in shock. His friends fell silent, their mouths hanging open. For the first time, the fearless bully looked small, vulnerable, and defeated. The crowd erupted, not in laughter, but in cheers. Students who had been living in Derek's shadow of cruelty finally saw justice served before their eyes. Maya didn't bask in the attention. She didn't need to. She simply bent down, picked up her books, and walked away with quiet dignity. But the story didn't end there. Derek, humiliated and angry, tried to report Maya to the school administration. He wanted her punished, suspended, anything to erase the shame. Yet when the principal called Maya in, dozens of students came forward to tell the truth. They shared stories of Derek's bullying, how he had made their lives miserable, how he had tormented kids for years. For once, the tide had turned, and Derek had no one to back him up. The principal listened carefully, and instead of punishing Maya, she looked Derek in the eyes and said, "Sometimes, life teaches us lessons the hard way. You need to think about the way you treat people." Derek was suspended, and the school implemented stronger rules against bullying. As for Maya, she became an unspoken symbol of courage. She didn't gloat or brag about what she had done. She simply continued her life, carrying herself with the same quiet strength she always had. But to the students who had watched that day, she had given them something more: hope. Hope that they didn't have to stay silent in the face of cruelty, that strength could come in many forms, and that sometimes, the smallest voices carried the most power. Months later, Derek returned to school a little quieter, a little less sure of himself. He avoided Maya, avoided the mocking crowds, and for once seemed to understand the weight of his actions. No one knew if he had truly changed, but one thing was certain: he never messed with her again. Maya's story spread beyond the walls of Jefferson High. Parents told their children about her courage, teachers spoke of her discipline, and students carried her example in their hearts. It wasn't just about a kick in the face, it was about standing up, reclaiming your dignity, and showing the world that you don't have to let fear control you. And as Maya walked through the halls, head held high, she knew she had done more than defend herself. She had lit a spark in others, one that would remind them for years to come that even in the darkest moments, courage has the power to shine brighter than cruelty.